Playing hockey takes sacrifice. You learn to give yourself over completely to the game, physically, mentally, and emotionally. If the dream grabs you early, it never lets go. Some make it a goal. A fortunate few make it a career. For most of us, hockey is a passion, a playtime, a distraction from daily life. But it can also be an education, a way to help us deal with the world or build community. Today we'll look at how the Ottawa Senators Foundation is helping youth through school programs and summer camps, offering inspiration and opportunities to a better life, across the city and beyond. These are the game changers.
Just being involved in team sports in general as a child is very important. It's good to be able to develop those social skills and work in a team, and I think you benefit from that later on.
And one of the most important lessons is that hard work pays. When you put your time in practice and you see it pay off in a game, it doesn't just apply to sports, it applies to any part of business that they do, whether it's school or a job they have in the future.
I feel like sports teaches people so many lessons, and to learn it young is a great opportunity.
It's not all rainbows and butterflies in that locker room sometimes. You know, it's real life problems that you have to figure out. You have to come through together as a team, and I think it makes you a stronger person.
The community that we have here in Ottawa is a great one. I think that we have a lot of younger people that want to make a difference.
Finding a sport you love can change your life. It can build confidence, improve your health, expand your circle of friends, and help you feel like you belong. And if one day that's suddenly taken away, it can turn your whole life upside down.
I have 3 boys. I'm a single mom of 3 boys. And my oldest was a competitive hockey player, honor roll student. You know, just an amazing kid overall who lost his hockey world to concussions, or numerous. He had 3 of them. He lost his hockey world and he lost his hockey family. So he basically, you know, went from being a leader to a follower and wanted to fit in. I was doing private therapy. I was sending him to private therapy, trying to get help for him to figure it out when I only thought it was marijuana use. And then the first day of school, we figured out that it was cocaine. I came in the door and, you know, asked him how his day was, and then saw the white crust under his nose. And I just looked at him, I said, we have a bigger problem, what's going on? It turned my world upside down, and my family's, you know. His 2 younger brothers were watching this, watching our family crumbling, basically, because I was focusing solely on him and not the 2 others. I felt like there was no option. To me, I didn't know what there was. This was a whole new world to me, something I've never had any of it around me in my whole life.
Substance abuse affects teenagers in Ottawa like everywhere else. High school is the most common time for experimenting with drugs and alcohol, and also when people are at the highest risk of developing addictions. A recent health report by the City of Ottawa found that 1 in 3 students have used cannabis, while almost half of all students used alcohol. But there are many more substances being consumed by teenagers today.
When I think of the students that we have who are dealing with an addictions issue, using in a way that's affecting their success at school and spread equally between the genders. Not all of those. We have a rough population of 1,000, so that's about 100 students who are dealing with substance abuse that's affecting their school days.
So years ago, when you heard the word substances, it would pretty much refer to weed and sometimes some cocaine. But these days, that's transitioned into a buffet of substances, and the variety is extensive. In fact, it's a never-ending list, and we're adding to it every day. Being able to acquire any of these substances takes a lot less effort for a 15-year-old in a high school than it does for anyone my age to go access the LCBO. For me to go to the LCBO, I need to go within a certain period of time, I need to provide ID, and I need to provide money. All three things and more that aren't required to get substances for young people these days in high schools. And no kid I've met starts a drug thinking they'll use daily.
Informally, talking with colleagues, I think we're on par with other schools. I think there tends to be perhaps where students have access to money, the drug issue may be a little bit more prevalent because it costs to be a user, and not all students can afford that or are willing to afford that.
Over the last 10 to 20 years, we've seen an escalation in the variety and potency levels of what's available out there when it comes to substances. Because of that, Ottawa, one of the great things about the city is that it's able to meet the demand for individuals going through that issue.
It's not that common that a student comes in and says, "Miss, I need to talk to you. I'm using a lot of drugs." Generally, there are other indicators that are happening, so they might not be attending. We see a change in personality. We see a change in maybe their grooming or who their friends are.
The drug use it's horrible right now. Like I can't get over how much of it is in our schools, and it's just even in all the parties and everything that they do. It's just so accepted. You know, we're alcohol when we were younger, but it's not anymore. It's crazy.
One of the ways the Ottawa Senators Foundation helps at-risk youth is through Project STEP, which focuses on support, treatment, education, and prevention. The funding for Project STEP brings counselors into high schools across the city.
Probably the biggest reason for us to get involved, is that, we get so much support from the community, and then for us, we feel a responsibility to give back to that community. And through Project STEP, I think it's another way that we can get involved in the community and help those that need the most help.
Project STEP started in 2007, and I think the way it manifests in a school, most importantly for us in guidance, is that we've seen that we have a Rita Wood counselor who is in our school once a week, in our case 1.5 days a week, who's here to support students and staff. A Rita Wood counselor is an addiction specialist, so works with students specifically around addiction. It could be that student is dealing with, that the family is dealing with, the friend group, so varying ways.
The positive impact that meeting them in the schools has is that fewer and fewer fall through the loopholes of a failing system from yesteryear, and really brings us up to date in where the demand is and acknowledges it. And that's the thing about an issue like substance abuse and addiction, is that generally it does not solve itself. And we've learned that the hard way over the years. But it's great that in our community in Ottawa, we're able to really address that by providing services like this, having one of me in every high school in the city.
It was the school counselor that told me about Rita Wood and the program for my son. So he started with a Rita Wood counselor. It was short-lived, but they started the ball rolling, and then I did the parent program. And, the parent program gave me the tools on how to communicate with them. The first day I walked into the Rita Wood program, they said to me, what was it? Heal the parent, heal the child. And I remember the 10 of us parents sitting there going, "Are you kidding me? There's nothing wrong with me. It's my kid." But as I went through the whole program, I realized that we weren't very good communicators with our kids. We didn't, I think I was a pretty good communicator. I lead a media team, and I thought I was good at it, but when it came to my kids, I parented differently. I communicated differently. I realized I communicated and parented out of fear. I had a lot of loss in my family, so I parented thinking every day I could lose my child. Well, in a way, it backfired on me. It pushed him towards drugs a little bit, just that I didn't give him any room to breathe, really. So Rita Wood helped me every step along the way. It helped me communicate while he went into treatment and help him, he made the decision to go, and I firmly believe it's because of here and how they taught me how to communicate with him and to know that I'm here for him no matter what.
We often tell the student that nobody's going to make you do anything. Growth and success and being well can't be forced upon somebody. We get to be part of the journey, but we don't get to drive on the journey.
When you see a kid go from hasn't played the sports he used to play in years, starting to take those sports back up. The grades start getting better, the attendance starts getting better, the family relations start to improve. Community involvement is something that is impacted by that. They start to volunteer, get jobs in the community. It's pretty exceptional to see young people climb that mountain having dug a hole behind it to start from.
We have responsibility in the community, as we all do, to help those less fortunate. And we can use our brand and our personalities and our celebrity that are our players to help bring awareness and bring some fundraising or funds to the program and to the cause to help those that need the most help.
We've all been kids. We've all done things that weren't right, and I think when you're at a certain age in life and you're trying to figure everything out, it's not easy to know what's right and wrong, and you need someone sometimes to tell you things. And I just think it's one of those things that can change a lot of things in this community, and it can change a lot of kids' lives.
For these kids, you see all the issues that are happening and the overdoses that are happening in Ottawa and around the city and around the country is beginning to be a problem. And again, we have these programs in place, and you can only try and encourage and talk to these kids and force them into them.
It's great that they're going out there and ending the stigma of kids not vocalizing their issues, and I think that's the next important thing, is not being scared to ask for help and to actively seek out solutions to your issues.
To be able to help those people, I think is huge, and just because they have an addiction or they have problems doesn't mean that they're bad kids.
I'm really comfortable in the fact that he's making good decisions now. He came from a world of hockey where his life was structured. It was competitive hockey, and he was on a roll because he structured himself: hockey, schoolwork, and family. And going to McMaster now, I'm thinking keeping himself way too busy, and he's not. He's coaching hockey, he's going to school, he's built his structure, and that's what, having an addiction, they teach you've got to build your structure back and build a healthy structure. And that's how he thrives right now. He's built it, and it's amazing to watch him now. He's just thriving. And we need to fund programs like this, because if they're not here, what are we going to do? And the drug use is getting, it's every day. My son just lost another friend to an overdose 2 days ago. I believe every child deserves a second chance, because if mine didn't get a second chance, I can tell you without a doubt he wouldn't be here.
Reaching kids before they become teenagers is an important way to influence their habits and interactions with others. The Sens at School program reaches over 67,000 students in over 1,700 classrooms. It's an innovative lesson plan to inspire students' imaginations and encourage reading by using the sport of hockey.
It's always a struggle to keep students interested, and yourself. As a teacher, you always want to be creating lessons that are relevant for your students, that they help decide that they want to study, and it's something that interests them. So in order to just bump up their reading and encourage them a little, I thought I'd try the Sens the Reading for Success program.
We wanted something more along the lines of that fit within the Ontario Ministry of Curriculum, and we worked with a third-party company to develop Sens at School, where we now have online resources that teachers can go on and register and log in for free and download lesson plans on language arts, fine arts, math, physical education, some fun stuff too, like word searches.
I like it that they support children at school to learn in a better way, in a fun way. And that's what we're looking for in education. So when they start, my children, some of them were not even reading at level 1. Okay? And the goal for grade 1 is to be reading at level 11, between 10 to 11. That's what we're looking for. And right now I have children, because of the Sens program, and that's what we've been doing for the reading, I have children that's reading at the level 13.
Well, at the beginning of the year, I was reading books with like letters this thick. Now I go like this thick, and I can read really better with French books. Because at the beginning of the year, I could only read like a bit of French books, but now I can read like a lot better, and I'm close to chapter books with French.
I would stay up till 9 or 10 o'clock reading French books, trying to get our numbers higher for the class, so everyone could have the party. The biggest prize was Sparty Cat. So Sparty Cat came over with the pizza party, and we had pizza, and there was a bunch of fun.
It was just tons of fun. He interacted with each kid, and the smiles I saw on the kids that day, I've never seen before.
School programs allow the Ottawa Senators Foundation to reach youth almost year-round. But the summer break creates a gap that leaves a lot of children vulnerable. Camp programs offer a chance for kids to get out of the city and connect with others through leadership programs and special activities.
You know, summer camps are very important growing up for the youth, especially in today's day and age when everyone's attached to TVs and social media.
So often it becomes school, homework, video games, bed, and then you get into it. You can get into a rut at 8 years old, whether you know it or not. So to take kids away from that, put them into a different atmosphere, make them interact with kids their age in a different setting, I think it really only broadens their outlook on life.
It's important for kids to get out. You can learn great leadership skills and just get outside and, you know, stop looking at your cell phone screen a bit and get out in nature, which is a very good thing I think these days, and something that you know, kids definitely need.
In the summertime, I think that can be lost, especially if families don't have the means to put kids into a routine of a summer camp.
Having the Sens Foundation help out a lot of kids is so important. You know, you have no control as a child over what you can and can't do when it comes to those finances and getting involved in camps and extracurricular stuff.
In 2015, one of the newest programs we launched into the Ottawa Senators Foundation was our Sens Campership program, and it was something that we were really excited about. There are so many kids in our community that can't afford a summer camp experience. In the last 2 years, we've granted out more than $500,000, have enabled more than 2,500 kids to go to a summer either day camp or residential camp overnight.
Going to camp is actually quite overwhelming. You know, not only on the child, but actually on the families as well. You know, if they've never been away from home, you're not only trying to ease the child's mind, but you're trying to ease the parents' mind about letting their children come to camp and knowing that they're going to be safe.
Your role as a counselor really is two things. It's one, to make sure your kids are having fun, and two, to make sure that they're being safe while doing that. Some kids, they often come to camp and they don't know anybody, right, because it's their first year, so they'll be in the shell and they'll be really quiet, and then like now those kids are some of the wildest, loudest kids that are out there. Like I can think of a couple in my cabin right now.
It's been pretty magical, to be honest, just seeing kids be able to be kids every day outside of the city. It's pretty cool.
We don't turn anybody away. We get kids from all walks of life. You know, we have kids that come from well-supported families, and we get kids that come from very needy families. But the great thing is that when they're here, nobody knows who's who. They're all from one place in their minds, and they're all under one roof, and they leave, and you know, they make some great friendships.
The counselors are always putting everything that they have into making programs really successful and fun. And as a camper, you notice it, and it pays off definitely by your enjoyment of what's going on.
Here you get to hang out with your friends every day, and you get to go swimming if you want to.
I love to eat there, and it's actually really fun meeting new friends.
This camp is very good. The eat here is good. The life here is good. Trees, grass, green, and the counselors is very good.
This is my second year. I think this year it was funner because we got to see the Sens Foundation.
I didn't know the Ottawa Senators was going to be here, so I actually told the mascot too. It was actually pretty. He's like, so.
Somebody phone us and say, you want to come to Canada? We say yes, and we come to the plane and we come here.
We rely very, very heavily on our partners, on our donors, on people that really care about what we do with our kids. So a lot of the money that we have goes right back into our program. And we're able to send kids to camp because a lot of our kids can't afford to be here. Probably 90% of our kids need that money to be able to come to camp.
The skills that they come away with after a one-week experience of friendship development, leadership development, new skill development, feeling very inclusive while in a very diverse environment is something that's really hard to put into words.
Camp Smitty is just one of a dozen local camps supported by the Ottawa Senators Foundation. This one was named after Brian Smith, the former NHL player and CTV broadcaster. He came to the camp as a child, and it was renamed in his honor after he died in 1995. Now, every year, thousands of kids learn leadership skills at similar camps all over Eastern Ontario and Western Quebec, gaining the confidence they need to make smart choices about who they want to become.
We need the younger people in this community to take the right steps forward in order for us to change it the way that we want to change it.
I think what separates the Sens Foundation apart is that they're everywhere. They have a hand in everything.
Anything that we can do as kind of role models in the community to kind of help out with that, push kids in the right direction, make sure you're making positive choices. I think it's a great cause.
As the younger you learn the lessons, the faster you can bring them into your life and start using them to work towards the person you are and the person you want to be and how you want how you want to grow up.
You take the hockey side away from it, there's a human element, and the Sens Foundation is able to touch people on that level. And that's when you can do that at a high school level, you're a game changer.